Canada. From the Atlantic to the Pacific, this vast nation, one of the largest of the world, encompasses towering mountains, rolling prairies, the Great Lakes, and crashing shores. From this land have come great cities, abundant farms, and majestic dreams. In 1871, this expansive nation sought to link its scattered population by building the world's longest and costliest railroad. On November the 7th of 1885, it was completed, and in its thousands of miles of ribbon steel are told the story of a nation. Join me as we ride the Canadian, one of the last great trains of the world, on a journey back in time. When the Canadian Parliament promised its people a railroad to the Pacific in only 10 years' time, it was done to coax the people of British Columbia into the newly formed Confederation. BC agreed, and the builders started to work. Not surprisingly, it ran behind schedule and took 14, not 10 years to complete. Soon after the last spike was driven on the southern route of the Canadian Pacific, the Grand Trunk started its own railroad to the north through the Yellowhead Pass, and simultaneously, the Canadian Northern, in competition, began its own route. And by the early part of this century, Canada had not one, but 3 different transcontinental tracks. The early steam trains crossed the prairies and mountains, hauling settlers, miners, and people of the East. The trains were slow and none too luxurious, but they were a vast improvement over the Carleton Trail that had moved pioneers and adventurers before. And then on April the 24th of 1955, 70 years after the first trains rolled west, the Canadian Pacific inaugurated one of the fastest and most luxurious trains of the world, the Canadian, a glittering new train of stainless steel featuring 2 observation dome cars, one with a bullet-shaped lounge, the last car on the train and the Canadian's most distinctive feature. The train was an instant success. It was comfortable, fast, and passed through some of the most beautiful scenery of the world. But within a few years, jets were making the 3-day trip to the west in only a few hours, and the public started to abandon the train. Via Rail, Canada's passenger rail service, operated the Canadian on the southern route of the CP until 1989, when they put the Canadian on the Supercontinental's northerly route. At the same time, Via announced that they were investing $200 million in a program to completely restore this train. In Montreal at the Canadian National Yards, Via is working to restore the rolling stock of one of the world's great trains. Rather than to purchase new equipment, it was decided to restore the elegant stainless steel cars that were built for the Canadian Pacific by the Budd Company of Philadelphia in the early 1950s. The cars are brought into the yard and completely overhauled. The old steam heating systems are replaced with new electric components that receive their power from the locomotive. The brakes, plumbing, and lighting systems are replaced, and each car is meticulously restored down to new carpets, wallpaper, window shades, and linens. When the cars are finished, they are tested, then put back together into a unit of usually 12 cars as a newly restored train, consisting of a baggage car, 2 coaches, the Skyline Dome, a dining car, 6 sleepers, and the trademark park car with its dome and bullet-shaped rear lounge. A total of 185 cars have been restored here at the St. Charles Yards. and the project is a testament to Canada and VIA's commitment to restoring and saving the best of the railway past.